Okay, so there it is. Heads are off. This engine is pretty much as far apart as I'm going to take it. Apart from the timing chain, I'm not planning on taking anything else off. Um, no cracking that I can see. I don't think you're going to be able to see it on the camera, but cylinders, I can still see hone marks, so that's pretty impressive. This engine obviously had been taken apart at one point because I don't think GM uh, uses gasket goop for the timing cover and the valve covers, but just the same, it looks pretty good. Might have been rebuilt at one point, might have just been apart partially. I was talking to a guy I bought some used, you know, 6.5 parts from, and he was saying that when I mentioned that this was normally aspirated one, he was saying that it might be possible to put a turbo on if the top of the pistons show anodizing uh, on the top surface up to within 1/4 of an inch of the edge. Now I don't seem to see any obvious anodizing now that they're discolored because of carbon buildup on the top, but there doesn't seem to be any anodizing, so I'm going to say that this probably is not suitable for that, but I always assumed that if I was going to go turbo, I'd probably rebuild anyways. Matter of fact, I'd probably buy one of those new blocks that's out there. They're only about, well, I think it's 4.5, 5 grand, something like that. So anyways, that's it. I had a look at the heads. I'll zip over there and I'll show you them. Not that there's anything special to see, but I'll show you them. So here's the heads. Nothing much to see here on them. I can flip this one over and you can have a quick look here. But, oh my god, these things are heavy. They gotta be at least 60, 70 pound castings. A little bit of carbon on the underside. I've already scraped the gasket material off. Doesn't look like there's any cracking on the heads either, so that's a good sign that maybe somebody didn't overheat this engine, or maybe that's why it was apart in the first place. Who knows? In any case, everything's looking good so far. Still waiting for my gasket set to come, and then I can start getting this thing back together. So that's it for today. Okay, so one last thing here. Yesterday I went to Napa, and this was an interesting thing that happened. I wanted a new starter solenoid for the diesel. Not that there was anything wrong with it, other than the fact that I snapped one of the studs off on it because it was so rusted. So I figured, now I'll go in and I'll pick up a new, solenoid. What's it going to be, 50, 60 bucks? Yeah, talk about sticker shock there. 400 plus bucks. I think he said 425 bucks for one. I said, what? It's crazy. What's a new starter and solenoid worth? Well, take a guess. 200 bucks for a new starter and solenoid. Guess what I came home with? Well, I'll show you. One brand new premium, apparently. Napa Premium Power, or whatever, Napa Power Premium starter. So there you go. 200 bucks versus 425. He actually did a cross-reference on the solenoid that's actually on this one here, and he came up with another price of 118 for a starter solenoid for this exact one that's on here. But at that point I said, you know what, it's a 15-year-old vehicle. I don't know what the condition of that starter really is. I've only started it a couple of times. Why not spring for a brand new starter? So there you go. Now, one other thing I was going to mention, I think I said the other day that that engine was the rustiest engine that I'd ever seen. I don't think anything illustrates it better than the water pump here. It's just completely scaly and flaky. You wouldn't believe how corroded this is. Still works fine, but yeah, it's just a done deal. So, in terms of just how rusty it is. In any case, I wanted to upgrade to the high output water pump, which I've got on order, and so this one was going to go anyways. And I think it's a good practice. The engine was out of the vehicle. Might as well replace everything that you possibly might think would fail. Still waiting on a set of glow plugs, still waiting on a set of fuel injectors. Still waiting on a lot of parts. So this thing isn't going back together this weekend, but hey, maybe we'll have something for next weekend, which coincidentally happens to be up here in Canada, the May 2-4 weekend. And I took the whole weekend following that, or whole week following that off. And hopefully that engine there will be back together and running on the engine stand that's covered with plastic right now. Anyways, that's enough for today.